I'm going to share with you one method I use to find options that offer high premiums. Just a quick reminder, there's only 2 days left to join my Patreon and save 50% off the membership price. If you decide to join, you'll receive access to exclusive content that is only available to members of my Patreon. And once the sale's over, it's over, and the price goes back to normal. So what is beta exactly, and why do I care about it as an options trader? I found a great definition on Investopedia.com. Let me read to you how they describe it. So, number 1, beta indicates how volatile a stock's price is in comparison to the overall stock market. So we know that the market as a whole has volatility, and the beta value of a stock is a way to indicate how volatile that stock is in relation to the overall volatility of the market. Next, a beta greater than 1 indicates a stock's price swings more wildly, in other words, more volatile, than the overall market. Next, they go on to say a beta value of less than 1 indicates that a stock's price is less volatile than the overall market. Just to summarize those last 2 bullets, if beta is greater than 1, then the stock is more volatile than the market. And if beta is less than 1, then the stock is less volatile than the current market. And the last description they mention is that a beta of 1 indicates that the stock moves identically to the overall market. Armed with this definition of beta for a particular stock, why do I care about it as an options trader? I tend to think of it like this. If a stock has a higher beta value, that means its pricing is going to be more volatile. And when the stock is more volatile, that's going to directly affect the options as well. So the options are going to have more risk. And when you have more risk in the stock market, you have the potential for higher rewards. And when trading options, higher rewards can typically mean higher premiums. And I like the opportunity to collect higher premiums. But that's not the only thing that affects an options premium. Premiums can also vary depending upon the intrinsic and extrinsic value, composed of the time decay, theta, and the implied volatility, gamma. But knowing the beta value of a stock gives us a great starting point for identifying stocks that we could use as potential option plays. Now that I have this knowledge about beta, how do I go about finding the stocks that actually have high beta values? It's actually pretty simple and straightforward. I've actually mentioned it in some of my earlier videos. I use a stock screener to find these stocks with high beta values. There's a number of stock screeners that are available for free on the internet. Just search for a free online stock screener. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to use the stock screener that's available at finviz.com, and I'll demonstrate how I use it to find stocks with a high beta value. To get to their online screening tool, click here where it says screener. Next, we want to see all of the available filters, so you click here where it says all. Next, we can see beta is set to any, and there's a total of 7,914 stocks available in their list. But let's go ahead and activate the pull down, and we're going to specify a beta of over 1. So now we have 2,530 stocks available. All of these stocks have a beta value of over 1. But there's one more thing I do to filter on high beta stocks. I select another filter criteria. On the right hand side, you're going to see current volume. I like to set that to over 1 million. What this does is identify the stocks that have a high trading volume. And this is important because we want to have liquidity. In other words, we want to make sure there's demand for the stocks that are being traded, which also relates to our option trading. We need to make sure there's a market interested in owning these stocks or these options. And we can do that by selecting a volume of 1 million. And now we can see our list has 828 stocks identified that have a high beta value, a value of over 1, and that have a current trading volume of over 1 million shares traded. There are other ways to find options with a high implied volatility, but I find using this beta criteria search is an easy and simple way to identify stocks that we can use for our options trading. Now from the list of 828 stocks that our screener found, let me walk you through a few of the examples so you can get an idea of what to expect. First, I'm going to show you some of the stocks that identified as having a high beta value. You can see this first one here is Apple, AAPL. I could easily change this to, let's check out Fubo, so Fubo TV. And we can see on the right hand side, the beta value is 3.15. So as we mentioned earlier, a score of 1 exactly means that the stock has the same volatility as the overall market. The other thing I want to point out is you want to make sure that the stocks you pick are optionable. We're going to see that there are some stocks where they may have a high beta value, but there's no options being offered, and so you wouldn't be able to use those as part of an option trade. Let's walk through another example here. Let's do Marathon Oil, stock symbol MRO. And we can see that it is optionable, and the beta value is 3.25. How about Fuel Cell? This is a alternative energy company, stock symbol FCEL. It's also optionable, and look at that beta value. It has 5.42 as the beta value. Let me show you one last one. Some of you may be familiar with Kodak, used to be the film and camera company, stock symbol KODK. We could see it's optionable and has a beta value of 5.65. Now let me show you one more example of a stock that has a high beta value but is not optionable. So you just need to be careful that when you're using the stock screener, you look for stocks that have the high beta value, but you also want to make sure that they're optionable. And in case you're wondering, we can also use the screener to do that for us. Let me show you. So if you look right here, there's a filter criteria that's called option/short. Right now it's set to any. If we activate the pull down, we can specify optionable. So now with that criteria selected, our list goes down to 766 stocks that are available that meet our criteria. So they have a beta of over 1. The current volume is over 1 million traded shares. And these stocks can be used for option contracts because they're optionable. Next, let me show you a couple of examples where the stocks have a very low beta value. So these would be stocks for companies that are considered to be very stable. Let's take a look at Microsoft, stock symbol MSFT. And we can see it's optionable, and look at the beta value. It's less than 1. It's 0.81. Let's also look at Coca-Cola, stock symbol KO. It has a beta value of 0.6. What about Walmart, stock symbol WMT? That has a beta value of 0.48. If any of this information is useful to you, do me a huge favor and smash the like button. Of course, you know that finding the beta value for an underlying stock of an option contract is only one small step towards constructing a profitable option trade. We have 2,530 I'll share other techniques that I use that all combined with this beta result have a beta value can be helpful in finding the next great option. But there's one more thing I do to filter. For example, we could screen for stocks that are select another filter criteria. On the right-hand side, you're going to see current for identifying those stocks. I like to set work out well over for executing the wheel strategy. What this does is identify the stocks that have a high trading techniques and procedures. And this is important to identify the stocks that are well positioned. In other words, we want to make sure there's demand throughout the week. The stocks that are being analyzed, which also relates to our option video with the we need to make sure there's a market interest in my analysis for each stock, including and we can do that by selecting a volume of 1 million, such as expiration date, and now which stock our list has based upon the stock's previous stocks identified as shown on the support that have a high beta value, as well as picking the premium, so I can determine my profitability. Trading. And don't forget, you can get access to my picks by joining my Patreon and save 50% off the membership by joining before March 14th. If you're still watching this video, I just want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I also want to wish you good luck and lots of success with all of your trades.